else loves hundred-legged creatures? Millipedes are a common garden creature that can be seen as pests or just bugs to some, but to arthropod enthusiasts such as myself, millipedes are cute, eco-forward pets that can be a way to bring pride in taking care of something. I had 4 millipedes over the past 5 months, and they were all very healthy and happy in the environment that I created for them. So today, I'll be showing you how to create an environment and take care of millipedes, because they are a fun way to experience pets, and they are very low maintenance, very cost effective, and very fun. So before I show you how to create an environment and take care of millipedes, there are some things we should talk about first. So milli, which is the prefix for millipedes, means 1,000. And that's a very common misconception for how many legs that millipedes have. Millipedes only have about 80 to 750 legs on average. And they also share some of the same senses that humans have, such as taste and smell through their antennas, and the vibrations they can feel through their body is their sound, and they see light through their eyes. And these are all very important factors that correspond to the environment that we will be creating and how you should handle them. Now, many people are actually scared to hold millipedes, and that's only caused by misconceptions that they've heard. So millipedes are non-venomous and they do not bite, although they can be toxic if you hold them and don't wash your hands after, because they release toxins for predators to not eat them, because the only way that they are toxic is if it is ingested. So just to take care of that, people should wash their hands after handling millipedes, but otherwise they're very safe and they're very fun. They like to be held. So now that you know some background information, where do you find your millipedes? Well, I found mine under a basketball hoop because they prefer dark, pressurized, wet places, and that talks to the environment that we will be creating. You can also find them online, but because I had previously stated that this is very cost effective, you can find millipedes in your backyard, in your garden, wherever you can, and it'll be free. So now that you know where to find them, let's talk about what they're gonna eat. So millipedes are omnivores, and most importantly, they're scavengers. So this is the dirt that I have, and it is very nutrient rich because it is new dirt. Additionally, I also have leaves, plants, rotting things, because since they're scavengers, they will eat decaying things in the soil around them. They eat decaying wood, decaying mulch, decaying leaves, anything of the sort. Also fruits and vegetables, because they are omnivores. Another thing to think about is that they need to be constantly hydrated. They don't drink water, so they get their hydration from their environment. So what I do is, this is one of the only things you really need to buy, but it's a spray bottle. I fill it up part water, part rainwater, and every day I'll spray their container, spray the dirt, so there's enough moisture in the air that they can live off of that. They can live off the humidity in the air around them. Another thing is to add to their diet if you'd like. It's not necessary, but it is helpful because they have an exoskeleton, which when they curl up in a little ball, protects their insides, because they do have sort of a more soft, meaty center versus their hard exoskeleton back. You can purchase calcium powder to sprinkle onto their soil, and that will help with the nutrient-rich diet that they will have. So now that you know what to feed them, let's talk about their environment. So first thing is tanks. Your tank should be dependent on the size and how many millipedes you have. So like I said, I had 4 millipedes for this tank. This is a little bit under a 5-gallon tank, but honestly my millipedes were about this big. Millipedes can get a few centimeters long. They can get pretty big dependent on how old they are and their size, but the first thing you need is your tank. The next thing you need is your soil, because they need a very soil-rich environment. You will go out, find your soil, preferably soil close to where you found your millipedes in the first place, because if they're living there, it's going to be non-toxic, it's going to be chemical-free, and it's going to be a safe environment for them. That's where I got my soil. Along with your soil, you're going to want to include rocks and pebbles. Small pebbles like this are really good because if you include them within their environment, they'll have things to go and latch onto. The next thing you'll want to do in your environment is take all of the dead leaves, dead wood pieces, whatever you collected, and you're going to place them in the tank, because this is partly their nutrition. This is part of their diet, is the dead leaves, dead mulch, whatever you collected, part of their diet. And you're going to mix that into the soil with the rocks as much as you want, and if it's not enough right now, you can always come back and add more later. So on top of this, because they like their nutrient soil, you're also going to want to add heavy stones, heavy rocks. Because millipedes, I said, they like pressurized areas, they're going to collect under the heavier rocks because they feel more safe in that area. So you'll want to add some heavy rocks for them to be able to sit under and things like that. So now note, when you're adding soil, you want to make sure it's deep enough that your millipede can sit straight up and down, vertical in the container, and have dirt covering its head. That's how you know how much dirt you're going to have. Now the last thing you want when you're creating your terrain is to know you're going to want to change out the soil every month. Because they eat off of their environment, they're going to be eating all the nutrients in the soil, and it'll have less nutrients. So every month you're going to want to take out the soil, take out the leaves, take out the rocks, replace the soil, wash the rocks, replace the leaves, and then put your millipedes back, and they'll have new nutrition in their environment. Last thing, daily, you're going to want to spray your environment with water. Again, part rainwater, part regular water, and then you're done. So now today we learned how to properly care for millipedes. You can do it in a few easy steps by first collecting common items in your yard, in your garden, and then feeding them once a week with new leaves and dead rotting wood, spraying them once a day, and replenishing their soil every month or so. Although millipedes seem to get a bad rep as a toxic arthropod, they're safe, low-maintenance creatures that make for a great pet. Thank you.